Hi, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Mr. Reality, and I'm lucky to be joined by psychic medium Liz Cross. Liz, how are you?
Oh, well, it's always a busy day in my house. How are you?
Well, today is an important day because it's the return of former President Donald Trump to Butler, Pennsylvania, where he was attempted assassination a while back, and it seems like a million years ago now, but it's only been I don't know, like a month or so. And we have people, your patrons, if you're not a member of Patreon, go to patreon.com/remote viewing and beyond. You get access to all sorts of exciting charts, predictions, videos, shows that Liz and I do, shows that other interviewers do, plus an access to the Discord. And it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun over there on that. So if you're not a member, please sign up. But every one of your patrons submitted, I counted, over 115 questions. And so I had to segment them out. We might get to all of them. We'll try to get to most of them. But they asked questions about that secret assassin group that you had mentioned before. And you and I haven't even gotten a chance to connect to ask about those questions.
We have not. No, we're very busy people. You're busy teaching your remote viewing course, and I'm busy doing readings. All right, let's rock and roll.
All right. So today is the day we're going to try and dig into this. We're going to try and get more information about it. So I don't know who you want to pull, but for the first part, we're going to talk about the group structure and its origin. So this group in general, how long have they been in existence in their current form? And you mentioned before there are three individuals there working on site in DC. Are there how many more are outside of that three-person circle, and how long have they been in operation?
How many more people are outside of this circle? Well, this is the core group. If they need something done, they can also contract out. So they have different contacts all over the world. They have different contacts that can carry out jobs for them. And how long have you all been together? Several years. Okay, so when you say several years, how long are you saying? About how many years? So two of you, when did you add the third? So was it the two of you that started out? Was it the one that started out? Okay, so it started out with one person. And how long has that one person been going? About 12 years. And then when did the second one join? Recently, and the third one about the same time. So number two and number three joined about 5 years ago.
Okay. What was the initial event or circumstances that caused the group to form, or that 5 years ago coalescing of people?
Ooh, what was the initial thing or event that caused you to all join together? So these two people were trying to subcontract this one individual. So they came across the one individual and they decided to join together. So what was the event? It was some sort of mission. And what was it? There was some sort of kidnapping mission.
So the press has reported that Iran is mostly responsible for these attacks on former President Trump. Are they getting financing from Iran directly, and are they in communication with anyone specifically in the Iranian government?
Right. You remember when I told you it was Iran off camera?
And that's what
Right.
came out
Remember
directly
that?
thereafter, right?
That's a hit for Liz Cross. You remember when we asked that question, I said, I'm not going to say, I'll tell you off camera. Well, you can confirm that's who I said was off camera. So has it come out now that they were
It
the
has, yeah.
culprits? Okay, I didn't know that.
This group
So the
agents specifically, do they have ties back to Iran and specific members of that Iranian government, or are there lone wolves within that government that are helping finance them?
That's a good question. So, and that's also scary considering what's going on in the Middle East right now. So let's ask, do you have ties back to Iran? No, no, these guys are just an entity, an agency of their own, but no job is too big or too small, is what they just told me. I mean, they're willing to take on the tough jobs. So who is funding you directly? Is it the supreme leader of Iran, or it's people just underneath the supreme leader? Excuse me. What else would you like to know?
Are they members? Are they all American, or do they have an ethnicity to them that we could identify by
Hmm.
looking at them?
Are you all American? Yeah, they're American. Do you have
Okay.
any other ethnicities? No,
Can you mention what the name of their front company is?
I'm not going to say that.
All right. Well, thank you for your question. We're going to move on to operations and targets. So, who decides on the group's target? What's that decision process like?
Who decides on the group's target and who decides? Well, they all have to come to an agreement, whether they're going to take on a particular job or role. Now, I want to go back to what they said the kidnapping event. Was that actually you orchestrating the kidnapping? Yes, it was. And it was overseas? Yes, it was overseas. Why did you have to do that? See, this is all money oriented. So you actually, how long does it take to decide? Well, they look at it logistically. They look at what they're capable of doing, how many people it would take. Do they need to contract out outside of the country, inside the country? Do they have the IT capability to infiltrate and research? And it takes a while to research the jobs. They are paid a retainer just to even consider the job. And then they're also, are you paid some money up front? Like you give them a price? They usually don't have to give them a price. Usually the offer is just so big anyway. And do you get that money up front? Yes, they do. Not all of it. No, not all of it. They get 25% up front. Again, it's usually a very large amount. And then what happens? And then they carry out the job.
Have they ever refused a job? And if so, what were the circumstances?
Have you ever refused jobs? Oh, all the time. They refuse jobs all the time. They're telling me that somebody wanted a hit on Clinton and they refuse. Why did you refuse that job? It was just too dangerous. So they refused the job on Clinton.
Recently or during his reign? I think you said they were
Was this
around 5 years ago. So, this is more like a recent transaction they denied.
It was this recent? It was a few years ago. Was it more than 10 years ago? No, no, it wasn't more than 10 years ago. Um, he wronged somebody and somebody wanted him to pay for that.
All right. Have you ever been involved in any cyber attacks like CrowdStrike or others?
Have you ever been involved in any cyber attacks like CrowdStrike? Oh, all the time. All the time. What do you mean by CrowdStrike? Please, I don't know what that is.
Well, it's some big hack that went across and then it took down a bunch of the internet. And so there are a lot of people speculating on how that happened. And I don't know. People have all sorts of ideas about internet hacks, but what other types of circumstances do they do if just not assassinations? Do they carry out kidnapping, cyber attacks? What other nefariousness are they engaged in?
What are the theft, stealing high value items, high value items like jewelry, theft, painting, museums, um, burglaries, like high value burglaries, um, making people disappear. That's what they do. They do. I mean, I don't think that there's any end or any limit if the price is right and they can possibly carry out the job or at least attempt to carry out the job. I don't think they'll turn it down. I mean, they're excited by this too. I mean, there's the adrenaline. It's proving how smart they are, that they can, bamboozle certain agencies. Um, they also get a lot of insider information from the agencies as well. They pay people on the inside to eke out information. They pay cops, they pay detectives, they pay people in government, they pay secretary. They also have to pay a lot of money to get information.
All right, that's one of our other topics. We're going to move on to that one, groups method, technology, and access. Um, how do they acquire their technology hacking? Did they pay somebody on the inside of a electronics company? Do they have people on the inside of the Secret Service or the FBI, or have they just hijacked communication systems like you had mentioned before? How do they go about that?
Do you just hijack communication systems? No, no, but see, this is where they subcontract, right? So if they need, so do you do the hacking yourselves? No, they subcontract these things out.
Okay, but technologically, what other things are they doing? Like hacking phones, planning spyware, putting in listening IP cameras? What type of activities to
What
get that
type of,
information?
do you do spyware? I mean, yeah, they do spyware. Do you do like phone hacking? They're not so much into phone hacking. They're like, you don't need to be. Most of the stuff you can come across is, either so they plant devices. They plant trackers, they follow people. They don't personally do the following for the most part. They pay people to do that for them. They pay detectives. They do track and trace and, record conversations. Um, yeah, they do things that way. Again, a lot of this is big, big money stuff and they subcontract out.
Do they have communication devices and bugs within the, let's say, White House or within Trump's Mar-a-Lago?
You have tracking or listening devices, bug devices in the White House? No, not in the White House, but they just pay people for information. There's a couple of insiders there. What about Mar-a-Lago? Do you have any tracking devices within Mar-a-Lago? No, no, they don't. This is where they hack into the radios and the movements, is what I'm getting.
All right, how many active investigations or activities do they have going on at this moment?
How many active investigations? Four.
And can they give us the nature of any of those other heists or jobs? Or should we
Um,
leave that for offline?
I'll give you one. So can you tell me about well, they're still working on this assassination thing, right? And what else? Ooh, okay. Hold on. Are you working with who? Something to do with abroad? And is it going to be, sorry, is it another assassination? Yeah, there's another assassination. It's abroad. It's somebody high profile abroad. And what else are you working on? Sabotaging a plane. Is that part of the assassination attempt? I feel like it is sabotaging a plane. Um, is it this going to be Trump's plane? No, no, they can't get near Trump's plane. Is this Harris's plane? No, that she's not on the list. Okay, this
Is
is
it
something
Diddy?
abroad. Hmm.
Diddy?
Oh, P Diddy. Oh my God. No, no. Is it? Now let's ask this question since they're working for the Iranians. Are you trying to infiltrate Israel or Bibi or any of that? No, no, they're staying well out of that.
All right. Is your group part of any other political motivation or something sinister like global depopulation? Someone asks.
Do you want to see global depopulation? No, no.
Do they operate for money alone, or do they have ideological leanings that dictate what they do and what they don't do?
Do you have any political affiliations? I mean, they do. I mean, they lean conservatively, actually. And sorry, what was that question?
Do they have ideological reasons for doing what they do?
Do you have ideological reasons for doing what you do? No, purely financial.
Do they have any spiritual or physical, philosophical beliefs,
Do you
knowing
have
that karma
any?
will eventually destroy them? We hope.
Do you have any? Are you religious? One of them is a little religious. Do you have any spiritual beliefs? Not really. I mean, no, not really. Do you believe in karma? Yeah. And they think that this is their good karma now, all the
Hmm.
money they're making.
Hmm. Not the way it works. How does your group communicate with one another? Do you use burner phones or encrypted apps?
They communicate with one another. Do you use burner phones? No. No. Do you use radios? No. Do you use apps? No. So how are you communicating? Regular phones. They're not burner phones, they're agency phones, but
How do
they're
they
encrypted.
advertise? On the deep web? On Ask Jeeves? How do they advertise for their, who knows about them, and how many solicitations do they get, and where do they advertise?
Do you advertise? They don't advertise. They don't advertise. They're well known. Okay. It's somebody, I know somebody who can do a job if you need some help, right? They don't advertise.
How confident are they that they will not be caught?
How confident are you that you will not be caught? Very confident.
Have they infiltrated any other US law enforcement or government agencies, or do they pay people to infiltrate those as needed?
Have you infiltrated any other law enforcement? All the time. All the time. That's her specialty. Finding out what's going on with special investigations. So if somebody is on the receiving end of being investigated, and if it's a big investigation, they can find out exactly what the evidence is against them, what they're investigating. Yes, they hack in.
Are there law enforcement agencies or people within law enforcement agencies that are aware of this group's existence?
Are there people within law enforcement agencies that are aware of this group existence? No, because when they subcontract solo, and they do it through many different LLCs and businesses. Excuse me.
What agencies would be most likely to uncover, stop, and destroy their group?
Well, what agencies would be most likely to uncover your group? No, they don't. They don't know. They think they're invincible.
Have any of the group members ever considered turning?
Group members ever considered death? That's instant death. No.
Could we do any CTT to change their mind and turn someone into a whistleblower?
Mm. Can we do any CTT to change their mind and turn someone into a whistleblower? That's very dangerous. No.
Okay.
No. Especially now that that's been put out on air. No.
What other evidence of the group activities could law enforcement find and where?
What other evidence of the group's activities could law enforcement find? I mean, they keep themselves pretty squeaky clean, right? As far as like a paper trail, there is no paper trail. They know how to scrub their tracks, and they do so very well. The only way that they would get caught is if you hire them for a job and then you monitor them and the communications back and forth, see how willing they are to go with the job. You would have to get them that way.
Why do they engage in such almost keystone caper activities for this attempt on Donald Trump's life?
Well, they're just doing the best they can. I mean, of course, you have to make it look like a big cover up, right? You can't have any trace back to you.
You mentioned earlier there are four other people in line as crazy shooters or something. Do they still have more people in line for that next attempt?
Do you still have more people in line for that next attempt? No, no, they're looking at these four. They're working on them.
Oh, interesting. Have they ever been close to being caught or close to making a mistake?
Have you ever been close to being caught? Yeah. How? How were you close to being caught? Not being careful with an identity. Um, but that was years ago.
Have they returned the retainer to whoever contracted the hit on former President Trump?
Have you returned the retainer to whoever contracted you? No, that's theirs to keep.
Okay, so whether the job is done or not, you pay us up front and we'll get to it. Is there another residual remainder to be paid once that job is unfortunately, possibly in the future attempted to be completed? There are a lot of
Yeah, then they have
hoops
to
and
pay
jumps
up
there.
front. No, I'm sorry. Then they have to pay the rest of the money.
What's to prevent them from not paying you the rest of the money?
They'll kill them.
Can you reel back the hit recall?
Can you reel back the hit recall? No.
So they'll stop at nothing until they finish.
Why would you, if somebody says, actually, I don't want to do that anymore, would you stop? I mean, if they requested, and were adamant about stopping, then I guess they would, but they get paid. They'd have to pay the rest of the money anyway.
I previously mentioned that there'd be an attempt on former President Trump's life using explosives. How do they acquire these types of explosives or other weapons?
How will you, have you worked out the next way? And don't forget, as we're extracting these answers, they are the here and now answers of October 5th, 2024. These answers are always subject to change because people change their minds each and every day. We all do this. So have you planned out the next hit for Trump? No, it's still in the works. And how are you going to obtain whatever it is they're working on someone. They're working that person, it will be their responsibility to obtain the explosives, right? They have to have them leave leave the paper trail so that that's what they want. If somebody is getting all this stuff with no paper trail, then they're going to come searching for who gave them the stuff, right? You have to coerce that person who agrees to do the job to leave the paper trail, to leave the evidence trail. They know what they're doing. You hear
We
that answer? They know exactly what they're doing.
we asked before, but is there any chance now of Ryan Ruth turning on them or answering any questions realistically?
Is there any chance of Ryan is turning on them? He already has, but again, even when they're never going to reveal who they are, what they're doing. They're very good at this, and that's why they go for these psychiatric cases, right? These psychiatric individuals, because at the end of the day, who knows if what's coming out of their mouths is true or made up. And that's another way that they thwart the investigation. So the fingers are never pointed in their direction.
He said Ruth has already spilled the beans, but they thought he was crazy.
Has Ruth already spilled the beans? They believe so. They believe so. And they think that Ruth is nuts. Yeah, they do. Wholeheartedly. He's not giving straightforward answers. He's not communicating well in a lot of ways. There's a lot of discrepancy. And again, don't forget, they weave that into the story. Their story is one of solidarity. We're behind you. We think the same as you. We got to get this horrible, man off the earth, or whatever their agenda is. Or, this not right, this jewelry or this piece or whatever belonged to somebody's grandmother and it was stolen from them. So now we want it back. So, they know psychologically how to obtain what they want.
Is Ruth going to Epstein himself?
Is Ruth gonna? No.
All right. Will this group continue targeting President Trump if he wins the election?
Will you continue to target Trump if he wins it? Even more so.
Will they continue to target Trump if he does not win the election?
Will you continue to target Trump if he does not win the election? No. It's a full stand down. And that's the words they used.
Huh. So, what is dictating that need or that necessity to finish the job?
What is
The lump sum
dictating
payment?
or necessity? It's millions and millions of dollars, right?
I don't know. I don't have
Well,
access
that's
to
what they're
their
saying.
finances. Okay.
Right,
You're
right.
asking me. I
Yeah.
don't know these guys. They're not my friends.
No, God, no,
Will they
no,
attempt to
nobody.
target the former president at any rallies or during transportation or at his home? Or do they have a specific plan in place? Or you said that plan is in the works?
Are you going to target him at any more rallies? No. What about at his home? No. What about where he attends, like maybe restaurants or his apartment or his home or hotel or anything like that? I mean, that's under consideration. What about transportation is the most logical next step.
Hmm. Do they have assets, foreign assets in other countries? So if someone came to them and had another decision for some action, what other country assets do they have people on the ground in? Or can they just make those up on their own? Can they get them if they need them?
Other foreign assets? No, they try to keep assets to a minimum. Most of their stuff is in crypto, Bitcoin.
Okay. Do they believe in karma or spiritual repercussion for their actions?
Do you believe in karma or spiritual repercussions for your actions? I mean, one of them does. The one that's slightly religious, he does. But then he's saying, I'm just doing the job that I need to do to support my family.
Okay, they have enough money to support their family already. They could just quit and walk away. But how do the group spiritual guides or angels view the activities of these people? Don't they think they need to, I don't know, step in, or do they have a non-interference policy with that?
Okay, going back to they have enough money to support their family. Yes, that's true. They do. However, you can't walk away until all three decide to walk away at the same time. It looks suspicious if you walk away now, or unless you get a reason to walk away, like a serious illness. But they've agreed that they will all walk away at the same time. So I'm sorry. And that next question was,
How do the group spiritual guides or angels view their activities? And can't they interfere, or do they have some sort of non-interference policy? And
do you interfere? No, no, the contracts are the contracts. Listen, we've had these questions before. Once those contracts are made, they are not, you can't just break them, right? That is universal law. Soul contracts, life path contracts, those are universal law. You can't just say, oh, well, now I'm down here on the earth plane, I don't want to do it. And these spiritual helpers, they abide by those contracts, right? Because they know it is universal law. You can't break them. What you can do is you can expand your consciousness and rise above the contract. Usually people do that after the fact when they realize that the contract was really terrible. But these guys, they don't think what they're doing is awful. They really don't. It's a job.
I thought it was interesting that when I used Google to look up Trump, now it asks me if I want news from the left or news from the right. They're trying to figure out who I am that I'm using the internet and what way do I lean here. They can't just give me news on Google. They have to figure out which way I want to lean and giving me news. Isn't that interesting? That's new,
Wow, I've never seen that. Well, we got that in that media probe that we did.
right?
Which is, they skew it a certain way because it entices more people to watch their channel, to tune in
Yeah. Look at
to,
that though. I'm
if
not going to
you're
tell you
tuning
what
into
I'm not going to turn. There's no libertarian choice. Where's that choice?
independent, there's no independent choice up there. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's surprising, but not surprising really to any of us. Did these entities, these fellows work in as hitmen, or do they never get their hands dirty? You said, right? They only have someone else do it for them.
No, they don't get their hands dirty. They're not
Wow.
stupid.
Someone asked again, is BlackRock or any major corporation associated with these members or assassination group?
Is BlackRock or any other association, well-known association associated, associated, linked to you? Have you ever been paid by banks? No, no. See, that's too much of a paper trail. It has to be done through a business and another business and a chain of businesses. These people know how to hide money.
A lot of those people there in DC know how to hide money. Um, let's see. Will the people that pull the strings behind these actions ever be exposed?
No,
How likely is it that the group can be thwarted?
they're going to have another failed attempt. And I think at that point, the then they'll be either impossible to infiltrate and try to carry out the job, or there'll be no need to do so.
Well, you mentioned in the future, if there is a President Trump's next term, that they will intensify their efforts. Will they intensify their efforts or will they decide, it's too tough now?
Yeah, I answered that cautiously, so I'm not calling the election.
I know you're not calling the election, but what is the connection that they have to? Someone asked Maxwell Yerrick, and there was some mention earlier during the first attempted assassination in Butler, Pennsylvania, that the shooter, Thomas something or another, was actually Matthew Yerrick. Is there a Matthew Yerrick associated with them at all? People want to know.
Oh, is that the kid that they thought it was, but then it
Yes.
wasn't? Mm, okay.
Was he ever approached by this agency?
Were you ever approached by this agency? I'm trying to get a picture of him so I can ask him direct. Excuse me. Can't find a picture of this guy. Can you pull a picture of this Uric guy up,
Can
please?
I?
It's like it's been scrubbed. Where did it go?
Probably.
That is so strange.
That's not him. That's not him. That's not him. That's not him. Uh, that's not him.
There he is.
Oh, they're saying no.
No. That
This I
that
believe.
that guy.
I don't know. Maybe that guy. Is that guy alive or dead? People are wondering.
He's alive.
Did he contacted by the agency? Is he in hiding now? Did he have any? I think they said that his van was at the site. So
He
What
was contacted by the agency. Absolutely, he was. He was
was
involved.
was he the second person working with this Thomas person?
Were you working with Thomas Crooks? Yes,
And where is he now?
in hiding.
Well, whereabouts is that?
So Liz Cross can be next on the list? No,
Were
thanks.
they contacted by, was he contacted by the same people that Thomas was contacted by, or did Thomas contact him?
Did Thomas contact you? No, no, he was contacted by the same people.
And did he do his job there? Did he get paid, or did he not get paid and he thinks that there's probably a hit out on him next?
Did you get paid? No, he received very little money. The whole thing was a big calamity from start to finish. He didn't really want to participate. He definitely had some sort of contact with this group.
And did he carry out everything that he was supposed to carry out and just it didn't happen, so he ran off?
No, no, he didn't. What happened? No, he didn't do what? No. Mm-mm. Are you in high? Are you scared of the group? He is.
All right. Well, I wanted to thank Liz Cross and all of your listeners for submitting questions to the Secret Assassin probe. And I hope we have done enough to uncover your questions and just try and understand the motivations of somebody who would have such a terrible sickness festering in their soul.
Um, right, but you know, people are going to be like, Liz, why didn't you put this information out there? Why did you put that information out there? Why? So you can all hear the information and Liz can maybe be here today and gone tomorrow? I'm not going to do that. Like, my life is worth much more than telling everybody exactly where they are, exactly who they like. I'm not going to do that. So please, save yourself the energy of putting that in the comments. Like, my life is worth more than that. Sorry, but it is.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you have to take a bit of internal searching to say what we can say, what we can't say, because there are still agents out there bent on destruction. So we appreciate all of your comments and thank you for going through them with me. And thanks everybody for submitting them. So if we didn't get to yours, there was a reason, or it didn't mean that we didn't love your question. It just means that it wasn't apropos or it was redundant to someone else that we didn't think was appropriate. So I appreciate it,
Yeah.
Liz. Thank you.
Yes. And if you're wondering where the questions came from, they came from the Patreon subscribers. So if you want to be a subscriber, go to patreon.com/remote viewing and beyond. Thank you, Mr. Reality. Mr.
All right.
Reality put this together. He has a tip jar in the comments. Thank you.
Bye, y'all.